Welcome back to Formula One Breakdown Podcast with me, your hosts, Just Trev and Aidenator Gaming. How you doing, dude?
I'm very well. Hopefully you're well. Hopefully everyone else is well.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for those who are listening and sticking with us. And you may notice it says round 7. Well, I feel for Italy and the Emilia Romagna area, the flooding that happened there, and the F1 made the right decision in not hosting an F1 there. All the resources going to repairing the area and all the emergency services and everything like that. So that's why it says round 7, not round 6, Italy. But, however, round 7, boy, it was worth the wait.
But I think before we move on to that, I do want to say a huge respect to you, Keith, for what he did, though. Was
absolutely.
Was
just... others went off and did bicycle races in Scotland and sunned it up in the Mediterranean or whatever. But Yuki was in the thick of it, helping cleaning up the area and absolutely, big respect for all the whoever decided to come up with that, a PR or whatever, genius move. Well done, congratulations. His stock points went up clearly after that. But it's going to be a lot quickly paced, this one, because time is limited and power is limited on my side. So let's get straight into it, dude. What did you think of Monaco?
I actually enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed Monaco. I enjoyed it more than Miami.
Yeah, I thought Miami was completely bland compared to Monaco. It had to be one of the overall best F1 that I have ever watched, ever, in an extremely long time.
The other reason why I say Miami was pretty boring, another reason is the crowd there. I'm not sure if you know, but some of the crowd was booing at Max's team.
Yep. Booing at Max's team and saying F you Max and all that sort of stuff. I mean, charming, isn't it? But, it's like some of the drivers said, it's going to happen. And it's not just in the States, it happens everywhere, which is disgusting, really. Stupid. Absolutely stupid.
Absolutely. But anyway, let's get into practice 1. And practice 2 and practice 3. So, Albon into the wall. There's a lot of incidents with the wall this weekend.
You see, that's what I was expecting to happen a lot of. Because obviously it's a street race. There's going to be people are going to be pushing the limits to see where the car is at and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I was expecting a lot more. But there's a lot less of that happened, actually.
But I wasn't expecting Lewis to have a crash. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Then, what else? We had Carlos. We had Yuki.
Practice. Sorry, let me just say that the practice one. It was surprising to see Lando in 7th. Really, just that kind of surprised me. And again, as per usual,
he did pretty well this weekend.
Did very well considering,
except from the qualifying. But hey ho, that happens.
We've seen it happen, and we kind of expected. And I know you and I spoke about this sort of like off stream, saying that we know that 23 is basically their testing ground now. 24 and 25 is where it's gonna really, really matter. So next year the car, I think, is. I think from here on in, there's going to be aggressive testing, aggressive parts maybe being brought in, because I mean their year is over, man. They're not anywhere where they want to be, so might as well just take it and do live testing and live parts, new parts and upgrades and whatnot. Be aggressive, man.
It also does give them a chance to test out their wind tunnel, which is currently on the way. So
yeah, which is insane if you think about it. How can you be such a massive team and not have a wind tunnel up and running? I mean, that's nuts. That is like primary, isn't it?
You could say that. But hopefully this news I shared with you yesterday. Rob Marshall from Red Bull previously is going to be joining McLaren as a new technical director, engineering and design. He has currently got 25 years of experience, so hopefully McLaren are in the right direction.
Did they poach him from Red Bull, or was he not with Red Bull at the time of confirming going to McLaren?
I'm not too sure on that. Honestly, I have no clue whatsoever.
Because that would really ruffle Christian Horner's feathers, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, interesting. But I mean, whatever. It's the right move for McLaren, and it's good to see. I guess Zach what's his name? Zach Brown, doing the right thing and hiring the right people for all the right. Like I said to you, they all doing the whole Ferrari, and all these other teams are now playing catch up and copying Red Bull and Aston Martin now.
And also, Arrow McLaren will be having the Andretti Autosports car in the at Police headquarters in 2025. So, they're going to be having Woking as the F1 and America as the IndyCar, so they're not having cross contamination. They're sort of going in the right direction there, where there's not.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
So practice one we had, just so that everybody who's listening, Carlos Sainz Ferrari in first, Fernando Alonso, Jesus, what a genius, Aston Martin in second, and Lewis Hamilton in third. Practice 2. What went on in practice 2?
Traffic, like the practice one, that was expected though.
Yeah, very much so. And Norris actually got better in practice 2, which, from 7th to 5th is a nice jump, and bringing down the time to the leader, which was Max Verstappen. So it seems like the normal sort of order of Red Bull, Ferrari, Aston Martin, but then throwing McLaren. And Mercedes, Lewis, down to 6th. Interesting. Are their upgrades? Gee, I don't know, man. I would have, honestly, the way they were talking about these upgrades, I thought they were going to be coming in like all guns blazing and really catching up to everybody.
As we said in the past couple, they've really been hyping it up, and the hype is that they're literally are becoming McLaren.
Of old.
They're evolving into McLaren at this situation, and McLaren are sort of coming into the Mercedes sort of. It
is silly, isn't it? Because the way that they've been, like you said, that they've talked it up so much. I was expecting like there would be maybe 100th or 200th behind Ferrari and Red Bull, maybe, but I mean, or Aston Martin even. But they changed the side pods, didn't they, to kind of match up to what Aston Martin are doing.
But talking about Aston Martin, in 2026, Aston Martin will be partnering up with Honda.
Yeah. Because, I mean, right now, they get the engines from Mercedes, right? Aston Martin?
Yes, they get them from Mercedes. And for people who don't know...
I just don't get it, man. Why are they called Aston Martin if they're not using Aston Martin engines? I mean, I don't. I know. Aston Martin don't have F1 engines. I know, yeah.
So, yes, to people who don't know, there's a bit of a statement coming from Toto Wolff about picking parts out of Aston Martin since they partly use Mercedes parts. But that ain't going very well, is it?
Not at all. Jeepers. That would not go down well at all. But they are I mean, Aston Martin, and who else is using Mercedes? McLaren, Williams.
Williams, and that's that. Then you got Ferrari and Haas.
AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri Red Bull, right?
Yes.
Yeah, AlphaTauri Red Bull. Alfa Romeo Ferrari, yeah. And then, wait, AlphaTauri are Honda, aren't they? But they're
yes.
Red Bull. But they're using Red Bull.
So,
yeah, they will be switching over to Honda. Yeah.
So basically, Red Bull is the main team, while AlphaTauri is just
the
like
sister. Yeah,
sister. Yeah. And talking about that, there's been a lot of mixed views on De Vries. I'm not sure if you heard about this, but some people are saying that he may not even be going any longer. Daniel Ricciardo could be taking his place. How his season's going so far isn't very good, is it?
No, it's not going good. But the same could be said for Oscar Piastri, for Logan Sargent.
Yeah, but don't forget De Vries has had much more experience in an F1 car than Logan and Oscar. So
I think that would be too early getting rid of him. I mean, I could understand the lure and getting somebody really experienced like what's his name? Bloody hell, the Australian Daniel Ricciardo, Avocado. Yeah, getting Avocado in there kind of makes sense. But would Daniel want to ride for AlphaTauri?
I'm not sure.
Is he desperate to get back in a car? I mean, it is a Red Bull car, sister team, so it kind of makes sense. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
Maybe, just maybe, if the rumors are true, just maybe, Perez will be leaving, and that will pave the way for Daniel Ricciardo to partner up with Max again. That'll be interesting.
Or how it could go is Perez could be taken into AlphaTauri to replace De Vries. Then
God,
Daniel
what a
Ricciardo,
step down. Jeez. But if you don't have a contract, you'll take anything, right? Jeez.
Yeah, he may have to.
I mean, he may even go to Mercedes and Hamilton to Ferrari if the rumors are true. That'll be, oh God, Lewis, really.
Well, you never know. We could see.
Look, like the big wigs have said, there's no ways that he would leave Mercedes for 40 million. No ways. No. Maybe 80 million. You might be tempted, but yeah, not for 40 million.
I was going to say Albon, but I just remembered he's already gone through Red Bull, so I don't really see that being a thing happening again.
But anyway, the results on practice too: Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, and Carlos Sainz. So the Ferraris are coming to their own.
They're starting to get better, but we'll get on to the other part.
Yeah, practice 3, it all kind of fell apart, didn't it?
Oh yes, a lot. I've made a lot of. Let's start off with Ocon. He had an issue after do the old limp home mode in his Alpine. That then you had Mag. He overdid the corner. Then Arthur has some car issues.
Yep.
Then Russell hit the wall. Lewis crashed, and having his cars flying in streets of Monaco.
And I think what I find so funny about all of these little crashes and so on, there is nowhere to roll off. You get your car picked up, and all the photographers get to take photographs of the underside, and gets distributed to all the other teams, and they get to have a look and see how the underside. Red Bull must have been so angry at Perez. Oh, can you just imagine? Jeepers, no, not a good move.
No, not a good move whatsoever. But it does look like there's wood under there. I was thinking to myself, yeah, that really does look like wood under the cars.
Yeah, they've always had wood underneath.
I've never known that. That's
Yeah, I mean, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Lance Stroll. Yeah, I mean, that's Lance Stroll to get up into third in practice 3 is very good, while his teammate was like down in 14th. It's like, that's Fernando obviously just testing different settings and seeing what to do and trying different things. Yeah, that makes sense.
But the one who really surprised me was Charles Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
He he nearly had a bit of contact with the wall. Luckily,
Yep.
he didn't. But
I
he
mean,
was
how
complaining
tight are those corners though? They were like
about,
they
they're
were
tight.
jeepers. They were just like just kissing those corners, man. Those barriers are just unbelievable. Absolute precision.
The worst one is coming out the tunnel. That is the worst corner of all because you're flat out, then you got to go
Downhill
down
as
it.
well. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, that's
I don't
it's
like
absolutely crazy. I mean, the game won't ever do it justice for real life, but it is scary coming out of that. The bright light, which the game obviously adjusts and everything, the cameras adjust and so on. But it is that momentum that you got, that downhill, having to break downhill, and you just going, please, just don't.
Imagine if they never had that corner and it was just straight.
How
That would,
fast would they be going? That would be insanely fast. Maybe what they could do is maybe just sort of like, I mean, that corner is such a drastic change. Is maybe just give it a slight curve rather. Just slow them down a little bit. What do you think?
or maybe let them have a bit more of a straight and do a turn and carry on, but that's way too.
It's a
It's way
crazy.
too
It's such
crazy.
a quick stop, and particularly out of the tunnel there. But they were good. I mean, they behaved. During the race and F2 as well. I mean, that was quite exciting watching that. But I mean, yeah, which Max Verstappen, Perez, Lance Stroll, Sainz, Norris again. Norris in 5th. I mean, I was like, okay, this is more like McLaren now. There we go. That's better in the top 10. Come on now.
They're slowly picking up the pace, but as we say, it's a little too late.
It is, yeah. And considering this is only round 7, I mean, there's still many rounds to go, but they can't make up that kind of pace and space and everything. I mean, Red Bull are just so flippant fast. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's a two-way race, isn't it, for the championship? Max and Alonso. I mean, throw in
Hopefully,
Perez.
it would be nice if Alonso
Oh,
got it.
God, wouldn't it just be amazing to suddenly have a turnaround where Alonso starts winning races? Oh, that'd be amazing. Right, let's jump to qualifying. What do you make of it?
As we said already, Checo, that was not a good image for him. And I was pretty surprised with Checo. I knew that he was going to have some. I was saying, oh yeah, I wonder if he's going to have some sort of incident. How many incidents did he have in this one race? It was crazy. I said in my notes, it's like he was just playing Wreckfest.
Yeah. I think he's taken the Street Circuit King to that whole title that he's got now a little bit too far, but you don't know where the boundaries are. I personally just think that he got distracted by the car pulling over to the right, and he kind of just misjudged. He had a brain fart basically, and into the very first corner barrier. But I mean, it is what it is. The world got to see the underside of the Red Bull, which
isn't good.
Is so not good. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, when I saw the McLaren, not the McLaren, Norris did have an oopsie. The underside of I can't think of Mercedes of Hamilton. Seeing that underside of the car with the amount of wood that they had compared to the Red Bull, I was like, geez, that is vastly different. Can you imagine all the team principals are saying, send me that picture, I want to see, I want to study. All the car designers. Adrian Newey must have been like, don't show my secrets. Damn it.
A bit too late now, unfortunately.
Yep, it is.
The whole
It is.
streets of Monaco saw it. People on
But
the roof saw it. But how
yeah,
far the plane
people
is
had
lifting.
people on the toilet and seen an F1 car coming by their window. Brilliant. Drop a deuce right there. But I thought it was absolutely amazing, the qualifying. It just changed. The track came alive and it was just phenomenal. The results that were coming in, 1, 2, and 3. I couldn't step away from it, man. I was glued. I switched my PC off and everything. It was like watches, like, holy crap, this is something else. Intense. All the way to the very last second.
The two who I was surprised about was Lewis and Carlos. They was nearly out in Q1. I was surprised by that.
Very surprising. But it just shows you how the track evolved, the evolution of the track. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, it was probably the best qualifying I've ever seen in F1, because you could not say for certain who was going to top it. Not once. I mean, the end result is Max took it on the last car to run a out lap and or a fast lap, and did it and got it. I mean, jeez, how tight was that, man? A 1:12.386 to Fernando's 1:12.886. That is incredible. And Fernando, holy moly, man. Oh, sorry, a 1:11.365 to a 1:11.449. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, that, and not only that, Charles Leclerc, a 1:11.471. So close to getting in the front row. Just amazing talent from all the drivers to just skim the barriers. I mean, even Max hit the barrier twice and still got pole. That's just really just amazing.
It's surprising what hitting the wall does. You can either lose or you can either gain time from just hitting the wall.
Yeah. But I mean, Max, people may hate on Max and love Red Bull. I love Red Bull, but not necessarily a Max fan, or certainly not a Perez fan. I don't care who's driving. I'm more about the car and the technicality of the car and the design of the car and all that sort of stuff. But I applauded after watching that, just saying that is, you cannot deny the skill that he has and the tenacity and the ferocity, and just go out there and push it to the absolute max, pardon the pun.
I reckon we should move on to quality 2, because there was only notes I got, really. I've only got 2 notes.
Go on then.
Lando into the wall. That was a little surprise, but again, it happens. It's racing. Obviously, everyone's going to make a little mistake. Max made a mistake by hitting the wall, so.
Yeah.
But someone who surprised me was his teammate, Oscar. P11. That wasn't bad.
Not bad at all. And you consider, Nick de Vries out at the end of quali 2 with the 112, and Oscar there with the 112.3. Nick got a 112.4. So very, very good. I mean, let's not take away from Albon in the Williams. Holy crap. I mean, Tsunoda made it in. I mean, at one point, I thought he was going to take flipping pole in Q2. It was crazy.
Yes, it was really crazy.
And then Gasly. Obviously, we're talking about the mono teams. I mean, Ocon. Holy crap. Jeez. Where did that come from?
Sorry, I wasn't expecting Ocon.
No, I wasn't expecting any of the smaller teams to be anywhere in near the top 10.
I was just waiting for Magnussen to literally go from into first place. Then that would have probably been a what on earth moment.
Yeah, but nothing, yeah.
I don't know what's going on with Haas at the moment. They seemed pretty.
I don't know. It was pretty ordinary their weekend. Like, yeah.
Alpha, yeah. Bottas, it was obviously cool to see him coming up the grid a bit.
And then obviously Leclerc got a fine grid place penalty.
That was quality 3 for blocking Lando.
That was just, that is the biggest brain fart that I've ever seen, because that is so incredibly dangerous in that tunnel.
So I split my nose.
I mean, how can you recover from that if they have a massive accident in there? There's no way of recovery. I mean, they would have to red flag it. That is so dangerous.
At least Lando managed to notice the lights at the last moment, but that was
scary.
That was scary. From going like 100 miles per hour back down to like 10 in an instance. It's crazy.
That's just nuts. And like Jensen Button said during the qualification or thereafter, the post show, that there is an agreement, with all the drivers, you do not slow down in that tunnel. Crazy. But anyway, it deserved a penalty as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, he definitely does for that. As I said, Ferrari having more communication issues. We see this last year in Monaco, and it seems that you're struggling again with communication.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It almost seemed like I don't know. I just don't get it. What it is with the Italian team and directions and communication with their drivers. Is it a language thing because they have to? Do they have to speak English? I guess so.
Well, it doesn't get much better in the race, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, you're absolutely right.
I think Ferrari need to sort of remap who their like spotters are or whatever you'd call it. I think they need to change race directors or whatever, as they're really, to me, they sound boring.
Well, I don't know I don't know if it's boring. I know they've got a job to do. They have to speak clearly and enunciate and try and get over the language barrier thing. But still, it just seems that, I mean, it has gotten better since last year, which is a shake of the head to think of just how catastrophic last year was for them. But it just seems like, you're right. They're just not communicating well. I mean, there's nothing more that can be said about that, really. I mean, it just silly. But anyway, the quali 3 was done and dusted, and Charles Leclerc. Well, how many? What was his penalty?
5 seconds.
5 seconds down to 6th place. Yeah. Okay. So 3 places.
Yeah. Something else I want to talk about. I'm not sure if you heard of this YouTube channel, whatever, Formula Addict or something like that. Did a printed view of Max and Alonso's quali together and seeing where Max managed to gain the time and Alonso managed to reduce his time, unfortunately. It was very, very close on that main straight. His front wing was right where Max was sitting, really. That's how close it was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the times were a 1:11.3 and a 1:11.4. So, I mean, it's so close. It was 0.8 something absolutely mental like that. Just nuts. So close. But
Alrighty then.
What an absolute incredible, on the edge of your seat sort of quality that was. Just absolutely incredible.
Someone who I can't forget about is Ocon coming into 3rd place. No, third place.
Yeah, absolutely. And not that far behind either. I mean, if you think about it, Alonso did a 1:11.449. Ocon did a 1:11.553. I mean, that is just crazy. And to be ahead of Ferrari, Mercedes, Ferrari, Okay, yes, obviously, Charles Leclerc got a 3-place penalty, and that, pushed Ocon up and everybody else up ahead of him. But still, that's just a wonderful, wonderful result for Alpine, and much deserved after their CEO gave them a bit of a tongue lashing, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
I mean, publicly.
We didn't really speak about that, but if anyone who doesn't know, Alpine's boss or whoever he is, what's it?
CEO, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, CEO had a bit of a was having a bit of a yeah.
Tongue lashing. That's all I could think of. He
about
literally lashed his tongue all over them.
Yeah, about his own team.
Yeah. Ouch. Yeah, but I mean, there you go.
Quickly.
Yeah.
So when Lando had that issue into the wall, and obviously suspension and all that stuff,
the mechanics
he was a little bit late out into Q3, but Jesus Christ, a 20-minute job taking 10 minutes.
It was under 10 minutes. It was about 8 or 9 minutes. 10 minutes. Yeah, that is just phenomenal work. Just absolutely incredible work by the team to get him out there for starters. And I mean, really, I mean, okay, yes, 10th place, but you know what? Still, to be able to get out there, just incredible work. Incredible work. Right, race time.
It's an event.
Race time. Oh boy, the weather. Oh, you know what? This race, it puts a big smile on my face because this race had absolutely everything. I was, I'll tell you what, Aiden. I sat down and I was like, I've got a feeling that this is going to be exciting for the first 5 laps, and then everybody's going to settle down, and it's just going to be all the way through to lap 70, whatever, and then that'll be that. Look at the pit stops, 1 pit stop or maybe 2 pit stops, depending on strategy, and then go out and whatever. But boy, what a race.
The funniest thing part is, anyone who doesn't obviously knows, when I was sitting there watching it, Trev literally closed the stream down. I thought, oh yes, and you left me in a bit of a cliffhanger. I thought, oh nice. So,
yeah, I blame the warden, dude. I blame the warden for that, but she wanted to watch the race, so I had to switch off. Yeah,
it's all good.
But
that also
well, that's the podcast. Okay, I'm out of here. No, just joking. Right. Okay. Yeah. So how did you watch the race then in the end?
Oh, I've watched the highlights.
Oh, the highlights just didn't do it justice, man. Let me just tell you. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what. It was damn good race. I didn't move, man. I was like, I peed my pants, just stayed right there on the couch. I didn't move. It was brilliant. It was really, really good. There was action throughout the field, all the way to the back. Everybody had their moments, and then of course the weather came in, and that was probably the most exciting part of it.
I was sitting there watching the stream. Obviously, it looked blue, but I wasn't expecting it just to go straight to rain halfway through. I thought, oh wow.
But it all happened at the casino corner, didn't it? That hairpin area. It suddenly just came in, and that was it. It was just like the cars were sliding and no grip, and Fernando, I felt so sorry for Fernando, dude. Yeah, he had the right call, but
So for people who don't know, it's not a good thing if you get rain at Monaco, is it? Really? Because
it's not a good thing. Rain on any street race.
Not really, but Monaco is the worst.
Monaco's, it's very narrow, isn't it? Yeah, very narrow. Yeah, tricky. And very, very tricky. And they did a resurface as well, didn't they? Of the track, they recently resurfaced it.
Every single year they resurface the track since every day cars are driving over it. Even on race day, cars are driving over it.
Right.
And I think we forgot to talk about something. When Martin Brundle was in the pit walk, didn't he say something about some people walking up the track like 15 minutes early or whatever?
Yes.
He was saying about.
Yeah, the lights just went green, and there were people walking at the very top end of the very first corner, crossing the road. So somebody hadn't noticed the not the racing green light, but the practice, not the practice, the warm up where they go around on race day. You know, I think that's when it happened. Yeah.
Yeah, luckily no one was struck, hurt,
again, FIA.
Like yeah. I wasn't gonna say anything about it. I was just gonna let it slide, but
F it all. The FIA. Yeah.
We got to speak about it. So hey ho. But anyway, I have made a lot of notes about this race. So
tick tock, time is ticking.
Yes. So let's get into it. So Sarge and Hulkenberg contact.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty interesting to see. Then it goes on down to our favourite corner, very narrow corner. Everyone was nudging each other. Stroll got hit.
Yeah, his race went downhill from there, basically, didn't it? I mean, it was over. Yeah.
Then carry on.
No. I was just going to say that, from being very competitive to getting wiped out. But I mean, he didn't get wiped out then. He did 53 laps and then retired. He couldn't finish, which is most unfortunate. But Magnussen was exactly the same. 70 laps and he retired. I mean, that sucks. You're so close to the end, and then you go and do that. It's just so painful. It really is.
But coming out of the tunnel, as we've already spoken about, Carlos nearly takes Ocon out. How silly do you have to be to do that? To try and... That was a silly move by Carlos.
But, Carlos is one of those hot-headed Spaniards. He's, yeah, it's stupid. It is stupid. But, it's where else can you overtake? There's such little places to overtake. But, yeah, it was silly.
Then you had Magnussen doing that crazy undertake on Sarge or overtake, undertake, Ossio. That was pretty crazy to see that.
Yeah, the thing is that if you're, trying to, Monaco is one of those places where, for people that don't know, do yourself a favor, get onto, just type in F1 Monaco and go and have a look at the track for yourself. Use Street View on Google or whatever. However you want to look at F1.com, whatever it takes. Just have a look. Look at the track and you'll understand that overtaking at Monaco is just absolutely is ridiculous, because there's, I think, other than the start finish straight, even then it's like, ooh, maybe not. And out of the tunnel, if you are right behind a car and not going to lunge forward to overtake, even then, those are the only two places I can think that are, or maybe going into Casino Corner, maybe. But
you got sort of the last corner where you can overtake, where we actually had a very decent overtake that we'll get into a little bit in a minute. But Ocon's race nearly was ruined with that slow pit stop. That was a slow 4.2 or something like that, and that isn't.
It was, but in hindsight, which is wonderful, he finished nearly 10 seconds behind Fernando and almost 4 seconds, 3 seconds ahead of Hamilton. So, the top four were, other than Verstappen, I mean, really, Fernando was 27 seconds, nearly 28. Esteban was 36, 37, so he was just under 10 seconds behind Fernando. And Hamilton was 39.0. So the top four were like really close to each other. The next three, 2, 3, and 4 were really close to each other in the end. So I mean that almost ruined his Ocon's race, but thankfully it didn't. Oh man, was I rooting for him? Jeepers.
Well, now Jeremy Clarkson has to give him a point now, since he was rooting for him. So, I think you notice a bit of a trend. I do like Jeremy Clarkson, Rich Lemon, James May, obviously, Top Gear.
He's a twit, yeah.
He's
in the world. Twit. He's a twit. But anyway. Yes. Anyway,
Checo.
Yes.
What is going on with Checo at this moment in time? What a weird move.
2 laps overlapped by his partner. Yeah, just ridiculous. I think, he has his brain farts every now and then. And that's exactly what happened in quali. He paid the ultimate price for it, finishing 16th, 2 laps behind Max. Spain will be different. It's more open track rather than tight corners and barriers right up your nostrils. So, yeah, I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens there.
But the question is, should Checo given that spot back, though? Is a question I want to know. Should he given that spot back to Stroll? It's a 50-50, really.
I think he did. He did give it back.
I'm not sure because
no, he did. Yeah, he did. No, it was the FIA came up, or the race stewards came up and said spot given back. So he did give it back to him. But yeah, cool. I think it was he had to give it back. It was a little bit silly, that move. But anyway, whatever. It does. That's down at the end of the race, and Stroll didn't finish, so it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But at least the FIA are being consistent, and that's what we want from them. So, which is good. But I think Perez is probably kind of. I wonder if he's. I mean, we don't know, but maybe he's thinking, I'm not going to be here next year, so I might as well just do whatever I can. I reckon.
Well, hopefully it doesn't go back to where Max is trying to ruin his race and all that stuff. Hopefully that doesn't become a thing again.
Yeah, but anyway. Yeah, that's why, you see, this is why I say earlier, I'm not rooting for the drivers. I like the cars more than the drivers themselves. I've always maintained, put Lewis Hamilton when Mercedes was really good, put him in a Williams. Let's see what you can do in Williams.
Yeah, why don't he literally put Max into AlphaTauri or whatever?
There you go. Perfect. I'm down with that.
Williams.
Yeah, let's put. Everybody was saying how great Lando is. Let's put him into Max's Red Bull. Let's see.
Yeah, let's lift like the people like Alex Albon into Mercedes. Let's actually have like the lower people actually getting more recognised and
the higher end cars put the lower people in, and the higher end races put them in the lower end cars. Let's see what happens. Let's just see how good you really are. See, this is why I say I'm all about the car more than I am about the drivers. So,
and that's why I said last week or something like that about why don't they just literally have the same sort of engine, same sort of top speed and all that stuff.
And my response was
no.
No, you know why I said that though? Is because, like I said, I like the cars and the engineers and the car designers trying to get every single edge out of the car over their competition, and I think that's why I like the cars. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the same engine, but they can design whatever car you want within
just
the FIA
like that
regulations. Same power for all engines.
Yeah. Same manufacturer, and literally it's just like what your team can design for that sort like body shape, aerodynamics, and all that stuff. So
everybody run a Ford engine in 2026. Everybody runs a Ford engine, the exact same engine. It all comes down to the driver and the design of the car, not the engine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
That would be pretty cool to see. The next one is the weather. That was an unexpected one from my side. Obviously, it was expected that it was supposed to rain.
Yeah.
And it did. And the amount of chaos that caused was action-packed.
And which is why I said it was one of the best races I've watched in an awful long time. And I've been lucky enough to be into a couple of races at Silverstone. And there, obviously, UK weather where you are, you can pretty much bank on rain at some point in
rain every day, every hour.
But I tell you what, the times that I've been to Silverstone, it didn't rain once. So I was like, oh, God damn it. I want to see some rain, man. Come on. Let's make things happen. But there you go.
Luckily, it didn't rain when I went to see the 24-hour Le Mans. So
nice.
That was lucky.
There we go. But, so, yeah, I mean, the rain that came in, it was like, what more could be thrown at this race? And there wasn't one red flag, I was so like, I'm so surprised that there hasn't been a red flag. It's what I was expecting. I was expecting to be absolute carnage and chaos, but everybody within reason behaved.
I was expecting carnage at that first corner, really, in the first lap, but again, no.
Everybody behaved, yeah. Surprising. Wow. Bunch of adults.
The question is, what went on with Aston when he decided to put Alonso onto dries?
Well, they called him in. They called him in, right? And I'm not sure about the radio from Alonso, but I'm sure he said, "Are you sure we shouldn't go on to Inters?" And the team said, "No, we've looked at the data and whatever, the weather and everything like that." And yeah, it could have been a different race. I don't think it would have mattered, to be honest. He may have, because during the live showing of the race, you could see that there was like all of a sudden 2 seconds gained on Max, and then there was like 3 seconds lost on Max. It was ebbing and flowing, going backwards and forwards like that throughout the whole race. And at one point when they called him in, Fernando, if they had put him on Inters, I think he would have been right behind, or close to at least, maybe 15 seconds or something like that, to Max. But in the end, ultimately, I don't think it would have made that much of a difference. Maybe it would have, I don't know. And that was the team call. But I'm almost positive that he said something about, shouldn't we put on Inters? And I was going, yes, put on Inters, because, we can see what's happening all over the place, all the cars and all the camera views and whatnot. And then they put him onto dries, which was interesting.
That I'm talking all about that. I was surprised that Carlos didn't retire after that. When you went really deep, then he was spinning into the corner. I thought that was the end of his race there, but luckily it wasn't.
Yeah. And I mean, he finished 8th, so kudos. But that just shows you the disparity and the differences between the cars was so vast. I mean, Charles and Pierre, Leclerc and Gasly, they were within 1 second of each other. But that rain just hindered Gasly from getting closer and overtaking. And of course, you can't overtake in Monaco because it's bloody difficult anyway. At one point, Russell was right up Hamilton's ass. And then the rain came in, and at the end of the race, he was like 20 seconds, he finished 20 seconds behind Hamilton. So
I felt sorry for Russell, really. That was not what I don't really think he wanted.
No, he didn't want it, but I mean, everybody got dealt the same hand, the weather. So that really did throw the cat amongst the pigeons, that did. But, throughout this entire talk now about round 7 Monaco, Max and his Red Bull were just absolutely flying. It looked like he was doing a Sunday drive. it just 78 laps. He was hugging those barriers and just flawless, just absolutely flawless. Just imperious driving from an absolute beautiful car that is beyond everything else. And I don't think if those moments in life when you're still a kid. I mean, sure, but I'm like ancient. But there are moments in life when you're doing something and you get into a bubble, and everything, absolutely everything, lines up perfectly, and you have a moment of your life that you don't forget. And I've been lucky enough to have several of those. But I tell you what, that race from Max to me was the best showing that I've seen from Max from start to finish. Everything just went, as he says, lovely. Just amazing. I'm like I said, I'm not a Max fan or a particular driver. I want Fernando to win more than anything else, but I'm not like a Max or whoever. But that was a hat off, applauding, appreciating the fact that the way that he drove the car was just absolutely beautiful, and it was just stunningly perfect.
Then Stroll hit the wall. Then I believe that was the end of his race, and I don't know. That was pretty hefty though. Hits one wall, then the car just speds off into the other part of the wall.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it's big little ana or ouchie. But I mean, again, we all dealt that. They all got. But I think the way that Stroll went out there, I think that was a knock-on effect of being hit. Early on in the race, I think something sort of like gave way or something. And like I said, with Magnus and as well going out in lap 70, it's just so heartbreaking, man. Because imagine doing something for 70 laps or whatever amount of time, and you don't finish it. It's like running a marathon. It's your first time doing it, kind of vibe, and you just want to have that accolade of finishing it because Monaco is the pinnacle, and you don't finish it with 8 laps to go. That is just terrible. And 17 and 19, that's basically where Haas finished. I mean, it's terrible. Not good. Not good at all.
Right at first and second and third and fourth to becoming last, I don't know what's happened there.
Yeah.
They've taken some sort of step backwards and he just sort of saved himself, really.
But I mean, can we really say that is a fair assessment on the team or on the driver or on the car? Thinking about where, a street circuit as tight as Monaco is probably not fair.
I can understand from Hulkenberg since he has taken some time away, and obviously he's got to get back used to all the controls again, clutch, throttle, and all that stuff, braking, all the buttons on the steering wheels, and also trying to focus on a narrow street circuit, isn't?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's not the ideal sort of assessment on a driver's ability, But I mean, they all get lumped into the same track, so I guess you can assess them and say, well, you didn't perform, but still, it's difficult. I mean, Monaco is exceptionally different course to everywhere else. It doesn't matter if you're Azerbaijan or Jeddah or whatever, Yas Marino or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. It all boils down to that you are a driver, you are employed to drive the car to the best of your ability and to race, and you're given the opportunity and you got to take it. And that's why maybe we see some of the lesser drivers, just, not doing too good and getting booted out and replaced by somebody else. It's harsh, man. It's a steep learning curve.
Sarge,
Yeah, shame. Yeah,
That was
yeah. Again, this is what I mean. 18th, 2 laps down, 76 laps. You know. Yeah,
I
steep.
had that issue at trying to get around the corner. That was
I mean, he was pickpocketed, wasn't he? Like 3 cars in one corner or something silly like that.
Perez and it was either Hulkenberg or
Hulkenberg and Tsunoda, Perez and Hulkenberg. Yeah, yeah, that's shame. Yeah, but I mean, this is the learning curve, isn't it? This is why you paid a shit ton of money to go out and prove yourself. And if you only survive a year, well, yeah, you had your turn. It is ruthless.
Yeah.
It is ruthless. All right, so go on then.
Lando and Osler, that was a massively great overtake what they did on Yuki on that first corner on the straight.
Yes.
That was a chef's kiss, and obviously we know how to do the old chef's kiss since.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, that was
right. Yeah, so let's start wrapping it up then, because time we want to keep it to an hour or under, and we're 56 at the minute.
Let's start with your driver of the day then.
Okay, so my driver of the day would be Max. I would, I'd take that back. Max is a predictable driver of the day. I'm going to give it to Ocon for putting it there on third in quali and getting it home in third, and not that far off second place either. And that has got to be mega encouraging, not for just the team, but as the driver. That's brilliant. Third on the podium. Come on, Monaco. Jeez, nice.
Then your Muppet of the day.
I don't have one. That's the thing. I don't really have one. I mean, if I had to say the Muppet of the weekend, I would definitely go with Perez, because that really screwed up Red Bull's constructors and his chances of points. So I'm going to go Perez.
So my driver of the day, we'll get to the rate of the race in a minute. I've got 4. So let's get into it. McLaren. The entire part of McLaren did absolutely well, especially if you get Lando out in that qualifying time. That was, and the overtakes as well. That was cool for the points. Ocon, as you say.
Yep.
Yuki as well for helping out last weekend. And what Brundle quickly said about it in the race or something like that about marshals, how much we should thank them really for being volunteers.
Absolutely. And they don't get paid either. They are, they do the stuff for free for the love of racing. That's absolute. They couldn't be done without them. Simple as that.
There's amazing people, and we should really be saying our thank yous to them really for taking up their own time and risking their own lives as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some instant, as I won't get into it, but there was a crash at Brands Hatch recently where a marshal was killed, unfortunately, with a car tumbling at him. So, anyway, Muppet of the day for me is, I agree with you, Checo. I don't know what he was doing. That was a silly.
Yeah,
agreed. Kind of
silly. That is the word. It was silly. Yeah.
That's what I've got to say about Checo, unfortunately. But
yeah, and what do you reckon the rating of the race?
I would say, obviously, I didn't get to see it, so obviously it's a bit hard for me. But I'd give it a 9. That was an action-packed race, and I enjoyed it.
Absolutely agree with that. 150,000%. I give that a 9 out of 10 too. Absolutely fantastic. That was for me. That was, as you say, action-packed. It had everything: quali, free practice, quali, and the race itself. And you know what the best part of it all was? No sprint races.
Oh, yes.
Circuit de Monaco in Monaco. There we go. Absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, coming up this weekend, Spain. Yeah. I think this is where we'll see where the cars will be really at, I think. I think this is the upgrades are going to come into play. A proper, I wouldn't say a proper, but more open space and room to overtake and DRS zones and whatnot. It'll be interesting to see. But that is this weekend. Final thoughts?
Just magnificent, really.
There you go. That's it. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Formula One Breakdown podcast with me, Just Trev, and Aidenator Gaming. And we'll be back again next week with Round 8, Spain. Thank you so much for listening. However you digest this podcast, greatly appreciated. If you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch via Discord. We've got a great F1 community there. And come say hey, hi. Give us your ideas down in the links below in YouTube and let us know what we should do to make this better and work better for everybody. Whether it be visuals, pictures, whatever the case may be, let us know. Right, Aiden?
That's all. That's all. But anyway, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all for Spain.
Round 8. See you then, everybody. Cheers.
Bye.